unnecessarily excessive in words, I will simply say that I have to first of all thank the President of the Federal Republic for finding worthy of being nominated to serve. Even though I have served with him in the past, served in his government in Lagos State for 8 years, where we put in place so many innovations, and we are going to repeat that in the federal setup. And that's why I told some people that, look, the war to occupy the villa by the progressives in this country earnestly started in 1993 with the June 12 election, of which I was part. However, there had been progressive struggles well before that, even before the independence of Nigeria. However, this particular journey, the saga of June 12, started in 1994, which in our own estimation culminated in the occupation of the villa by President Tinubu, because he was a primus inter pares, one of those who were in the forefront of that struggle. And so it is symbolic that one of the forerunners of the struggle for the enthronement of democracy, not just June 12, but democracy in general in Nigeria, is the occupant of the presidential villa. So that's very symbolic for us. And that is a compelling reason why we must deliver. Because some of those promises we made 30 years ago in Abiola's manifesto, which some of us helped in preparing, which was titled Farewell to Poverty. And that's what we are going to do. We are going to ensure farewell to poverty. However, Nigerians must be well reminded that Rome wasn't constructed in one day. And it's easier to destroy, it's many times more difficult to build. So in the process of building, there will be pains, like the ones associated with this recent policy initiatives. But those policy initiatives are designed in the larger interest of Nigerians, in the long-term interest of the country. And by the time we turn the corner, those pains will go away in the short run. And in the medium term, the beneficial results of those policies will begin to manifest and to germinate. And that's why when Nigerians will see seriously that this government has come to turn lives around for the better. So the value that I would add in my own small corner is to ensure the smooth running of governance, initiatives, coming up with initiatives, policy initiatives that will not only enhance my own department or ministry or whatever, wherever I find myself, but to contribute meaningfully to the progress, economic progress, infrastructural development, and social upliftment of our nation. That will be the foundation.
All right, Mr. Dominic, media is a 40% of the brain, and for years it has been in the sole condition. Let's say that you have been given a business information. What are you doing different to uplift the living standard of journalism in Nigeria?
See, that question is a double-edged one. Number one, the media is vast, and the government does not own all media. Even if government were to enact a legislation to control the nature, the content, and direction of its own media, government may not, because we are in a democracy, may not have the legal authority to compel a private owner of a station or of a medium how to run his or her own organization, as long as the general laws guiding such industry are complied with. So, but in a nutshell, the first thing is to create a conducive environment for media practitioners. I am one, and I said it inside the chamber. I remain one. So it's in my own personal interest, apart from professional interest, to ensure that we create that enabling environment. Because this is a fleeting job. After my stint, I go back to my journalism. After my stint in Lagos State, I went back to my journalism and communications consultancy for 15, 16 years. So I'm part and parcel of that profession, and I will make sure that, one, the remuneration of journalists, of media practitioners, must be enhanced, must be improved upon. The general welfare of the practitioners. Two, the equipment available to practitioners at any level, whether it's print, electronic, online, wherever. The equipment must be upgraded to ensure more efficiency and efficacy of practice. Number three, attitudinal. Like I said inside the chambers, all of us in Nigeria must change our attitude to our environment. Hitherto, there was this saying that government property was nobody's property. The same attitude to government funds, resources, government money is nobody's money, so you could steal it at will or spend it frivolously and all of that. Those things are attitudinal that we need to change. So we journalists are part and parcel of the society, and we also have our own detrimental contribution to the values that have been desecrated by our own attitude. So we also need to change our attitude to our employers, to our profession, to our society, and that's where a sense of responsibility comes. So it's a question of combination of factors and variables. But one thing you can take away is that me, as a media person, the welfare and interest of the media is what most important.
Now, when you talk about the private sector, with regard to the media, you find that you talked about regulations abiding by the laws of the industry, but a lot of private media outfits can barely get by these days because of stringent policies. Like you talked about the NBC, the annual dues. Some of them are almost stringent, let me just use that word. Media owners are struggling. They are not like NTA and the others that have subvention. And so, I don't know what you will do to make the environment more conducive for the private sector.
I have already said what I can do for the private sector.
Regulations and like the annual
I disagree with you that the fees are stringent at all. At all. How much is the fee? Per annum. I don't want to talk about it. If you take me up on that, I will take you up and I will reveal a lot of things, even about the practice in the private sector. In fact, I've always held that view with empirical verification that we beam the searchlight on the public sector. The private sector may be or could be more corrupt than the public sector, but because the searchlight is more on the public sector, that's why people say public servants, public officer, public this, public that. Nobody goes to the private sector to beam the searchlight. I disagree that the free license fees per annum is stringent. In fact, considering the available information in terms of earnings, in terms of resources available to these private owners, it's very cheap. But we all have an attitude to paying fees, taxes, levies, and deductions that are necessary or are legislated upon by government. The attitude is general, so it also affects the private sector of the media. It's not as if they are people just develop a nonchalant attitude to all of those things. Why can you tell me that a station cannot afford 5 million naira in a year as license fee, whereas that station takes more than what you are giving here? A station can collect 50 million.
This is social service.
I'm saying what you are giving can, if it so desires, and if the authorities decide to pay, it can charge anything. There is no legislation on what you charge. It is the will and caprices of the private stations to determine their advert fees. So, in a nutshell, I have had to place adverts in TV station, 5 million for 1 hour. And you are telling me that station cannot afford 5 million fees in a year.
But the cost of satellite, there are a whole lot of overheads.
Don't forget that it is not the cost of satellite that he pays for every broadcast. In 1 hour that he pays, don't forget that I have also run stations. So I know what you are talking about, and I'm telling you with a degree of authority that it is the nonchalant attitude that is generally prevalent among Nigerians that makes the private stations to say that the fees are stringent. Just like everybody says taxes are stringent. And in any case, fees and licenses are not peculiar to private stations. They are also paid by other businesses in the environment, by motor car sellers, to manufacturers, to all kinds of everybody pays, required or expected to pay. So that will not be a constraint. What we need to do is to ensure that the economy improves so that the private players in the media can also access whatever their needs are in terms of equipment, in terms of their needs, like in the print, they need paper newsprint, which is not in Nigeria, it's in import. So if the economy generally improves, then the cost of importation will go down. So they will be better placed to import their needs. The same thing in electronics. All of these things that are not manufactured in Nigeria, you pay in foreign. So if the economy is improving, it will also affect the private sector. So the long and short of it is that the responsibility of moving this country forward is on our shoulders, not necessarily the leadership. What are we talking about? Who is a leader? Anyway, you are a leader in your home. And I said it in the chambers. Everybody is a leader in one way or the other. But do we have the right leadership attitude? Even at the home level, not to talk of the public office, the private office, anywhere we find ourselves, we must change our attitude to ourselves and to our society. Let me tell you one thing. Since 1960, I cannot recall one time that Nigeria went abroad to recruit a set of leaders. So what that means is successive leaders, whether military, whether civilian, have always come from among Nigerians. So if you are saying leadership is bad, it means inherently Nigerians are bad. And we can't say that. So we need to examine ourselves.
Okay.